Welcome to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. This is episode 160. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Fred. It's great to be here.
Today, we're taking a bit of a detour.
We are. Usually we're all about technical clarity and, enterprise quality control. But today we're applying that same kind of critical eye to a systemic failure in a totally different area.
American commerce, specifically the prepared food industry.
Exactly. We're looking at what happens when quality control just seems to collapse across an entire sector.
And for this analysis, we're drawing from a really insightful video from the Matt Walsh channel on YouTube. It's called, I Looked Into Why Restaurant Quality is Declining. What I found is shocking.
Right. And our mission today is, well, it's pretty straightforward. We want to understand the three main forces that are all tangled together.
The forces that our source claims are why, and I'm quoting here, every single chain restaurant without exception has become terrible in recent years.
And why the food itself often tastes like inedible slop. I think that's a feeling a lot of us can relate to.
Oh, absolutely. You go out to eat and it's just disappointing. It feels like this general decline, and it really does, degrade your quality of life a little bit.
It does. And when people notice this, the smaller portions, the worse ingredients, the higher prices, the go-to explanation is always something financial.
Capitalism, right. Specifically private equity firms or PE just coming into strip mine brands we used to love.
That's the narrative.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful one. But okay, let's unpack that, because while PE is definitely involved in cost cutting, saying it's the only reason for this huge trend, that's a big oversimplification.
How so? It feels like we see those headlines all the time.
We do, but PE has been in the restaurant game for decades. I mean, this isn't a new thing. Denny's and Hardee's were brought back in 1992.
Wow, that far back.
Yeah. Burger King in 2002, Dunkin' Donuts in 2005. The problem we're seeing now goes, I think, a lot deeper than just a recent wave of PE buyouts.
And it's also worth remembering that most restaurants aren't even PE-owned. So many are publicly traded.
And some of the best ones, like Chick-fil-A, are still family-owned.
Right.
And look, when PE does invest, their goal isn't just to destroy a company. It's profit, sure, but that profit comes from one of two places. Either they're funding a fast-growing company, or they're trying to save a struggling one that needs a ton of cash to survive.
So they're betting on turning it into a long-term cash cow.
Exactly. If they ruin the brand, the whole investment goes up in smoke.
Yeah.
Their main incentive is for the company to succeed and, increase its long-term value.
Which brings us to a really interesting counterexample.
Arby's.
Arby's, yeah. 15 years ago, they were losing millions. I mean, they were basically facing extinction.
They were. But Rourke Capital bought them in 2011, and they didn't strip mine it. They saved it. They updated the stores. They cleaned things up. They launched that whole We've Got the Meats campaign.
And it worked. They made the business sustainable again.
Right. It shows that PE can actually lead to a better outcome sometimes. But that story changes, and it changes dramatically, when a company is already weak.
And that brings us to the big one, Red Lobster.
Everyone points to Red Lobster as the ultimate victim of private equity. But the truth is, the company was already in deep trouble.
Long before Golden Gate Capital took over in 2014.
Long before. Customers were leaving for places like Chipotle. Earnings had dropped by over 25% in just 1 year.
And Darden, the company that owns Olive Garden, they sold Red Lobster just to stop the bleeding. It was dragging their whole portfolio down.
It was, and we should probably kill that myth about the unlimited shrimp promotion bankrupting them.
Oh, right.
It cost them about $11 million.
Which, hurts. But it wasn't the cause of death. The PE firm bought a dying company for over $2 billion. It was a huge risk.
So how do they manage that risk? This is where the financial engineering part comes in, the sale leaseback.
It's a classic move. Golden Gate sold off most of the actual land the restaurants are on for about $1.5 billion. So they get cash right away.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And then they force Red Lobster to lease that same property back from the new owners. So the PE firm gets their money back, and now they have a guaranteed income stream from rent. All the risk gets pushed onto the restaurant.
Which is now stuck with huge rent payments on top of its other debts.
Precisely. And this isn't some uniquely evil PE strategy either. Red Robin, which is publicly traded, did the exact same thing to raise cash and try to turn their business around.
So with Red Lobster, it was a weak company, hit by COVID, hit by rising interest rates, and then put into this really risky financial situation that just made everything worse.
It was a perfect storm, and this leads to the real corporate goal, not just for PE firms, but for pretty much all of these chains.
They're not trying to intentionally destroy their brands,
No.
but they are trying to find that exact point. The point where they can degrade quality as low as it can possibly go before too many consumers notice and flee the brand.
That's it. Maximal profit, minimum necessary quality.
And you really see that lack of passion for the actual product in a place like Jimmy John's.
Right. When the founder, Jimmy John, owned it, he was supposedly obsessed with sandwiches. That was his thing.
You knew you were getting a good product.
Now, under corporate ownership, that passion is gone. It's all about cutting costs, gimmicky marketing, pushing out things like that Pickle Witch sandwich just to go viral.
Yeah.
The focus isn't on the food anymore, it's on the sales numbers.
Which makes perfect sense. If the person at the very top only cares about the margin, that's what everyone down the line is going to focus on too.
Absolutely.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Kurt Robbins.
Hi, this is Kurt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the Technical Writing Success Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about financial strategy. Now let's turn to two other factors that directly hit the food on your plate: the workforce and the supply chain.
The workforce is a huge piece of this puzzle, and it's one that doesn't get talked about enough. The fact is, these jobs aren't just for high school kids anymore.
Right. They're often filled by adults who are, facing some pretty big challenges.
And the data on that is, frankly, shocking. One study found that 20% of food service workers reported using illegal drugs in the past month. 17% have a substance abuse disorder.
And that got worse after COVID, didn't it?
It did. The number of workers failing drug tests jumped to almost 13%. Marijuana use, specifically, shot way up. And look, the implication here is pretty direct.
When your line cook is impaired, he's probably not going to make the highest quality sandwich.
It's not.
Yeah.
You're going to get inconsistency, mistakes with ingredients, temperature problems, sanitation lapses. All of it directly impacts the final product.
Okay, that explains inconsistency, but it doesn't quite answer another question. Why does all pizza taste the same now? I mean, supermarket frozen pizza, Domino's, Papa John's, it's all the same kind of bland. That can't just be the workforce.
No, it can't. That is a direct result of supply chain monoculture. And this is where it gets really surprising. It turns out one single company, Leprino Foods, controls 85% of the entire pizza cheese market in the United States.
85%.
85. They supply Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, all of them.
How does one company get that much control?
It's not about having the best tasting cheese. It's about efficiency and patents. They have over 50 patents on their manufacturing process. They figured out how to make cheese in this high-speed continuous stream and then quick freeze it immediately.
So it's a logistics solution.
It's purely a logistics solution. The decision to use this frozen cheese had zero to do with taste. It was about consistent performance across thousands of locations. It's more viable, it's more profitable, and it lets these massive chains operate with total predictability.
And this isn't just happening with cheese.
Oh no, it's happening everywhere, thanks to giant food distributors like Sysco and US Foods. Sysco alone serves something like 730,000 locations.
So between them, they're probably supplying more than half of all the restaurants in the country.
Easily. And think about what that means. If you go to an Applebee's or a Chili's and you order mozzarella sticks,
You're getting the same mozzarella sticks.
you are almost certainly getting the same reheated, frozen product from the back of the exact same Sysco truck. The food tastes the same because it is the same.
The restaurant is just the last step in the reheating process.
Exactly. Which brings us to the real root cause of all of this.
To really see it clearly, you have to look at a company that isn't owned by a PE firm, but is still suffering from the same decline.
And the perfect case study is Cracker Barrel. Publicly traded, stable company.
Yet the food quality has gone downhill. Why?
A former employee revealed the big change. They used to be famous for their fresh biscuits, right? Made them fresh every day.
Mm-hmm.
Now they bake them in advance, freeze them for days, and then just stick them in a warmer for 40 minutes before they serve them.
And that's it, right there. That's the whole problem in a nutshell.
It is. It's the universal shift away from fresh preparation to just reheating frozen prepackaged food. You're paying restaurant prices for what is essentially a glorified TV dinner.
And this has happened because at every single level of the process, from the CEO looking at profit margins down to the employee putting frozen biscuits in a warmer food, nobody actually cares what the food tastes like.
The quality of the product is not a metric they're optimizing for. It's not even on the radar.
The truly fascinating part, though, is our role in all of this, the customer. This whole system only works
Because we keep eating it.
we keep buying their slop. You could argue that Americans just have insanely low standards, that we've been conditioned for decades to accept this.
That's the big structural problem. It's not that we want bad food, but the system has made the convenient option, the cheap option, the mediocre option. High quality is now the exception, not the rule.
So if the whole system is built this way, how do you fix it? I mean, short of some massive demand to abolish capitalism.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
We just have to use the one tool we actually have, which is our own money.
Our buying power.
Exactly. If you want restaurants to be worth going to, if you want your pizza to actually taste different from every other pizza, you have to adopt some standards yourself. And you have to withhold your money until the quality comes back.
That's the only language the system understands.
It's the only metric they respond to. The decay only stops when we stop paying for it.
Thank you for listening to the Technical Writing Success Podcast from Kurt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.